All right, we're about to take a journey back in time, back to the land of pharaohs, pyramids, and the Nile. But this isn't your typical tour. We're going to go deeper. We're going to try to read their minds, understand how their society actually worked, and hear their stories, all by cracking the code of their world, their writing. I mean, think about it. That's the real challenge, right? 2,000 years of silence. Their voices are gone. Their culture feels lost to time. How in the world can we possibly know what they were thinking, what they cared about, or just what an average Tuesday was like for them? It feels impossible.
Unless, what if they left something behind? A key. One single object that could unlock, well, everything. And believe it or not, in the sands of Egypt, that is exactly what happened.
Okay, let's dive into this incredible story. It all starts with a discovery. A total accident, really, that would completely change how we see the ancient world. Picture this. It's 1799, and a French soldier literally stumbles over this big slab of black stone. Turns out it's a royal decree for a king named Ptolemy V. But what made this rock absolutely priceless wasn't what it said, but how it said it. And that little detail, well, it changed everything. You see, the stone had the same message carved in 3 different scripts. At the top, you had those beautiful, famous hieroglyphs, the sacred stuff. In the middle was something called demotic, kind of like an everyday cursive or shorthand. And at the bottom, this was the jackpot, was ancient Greek, a language scholars could actually read. That was the key. So how'd they crack it? A brilliant scholar named Jean-François Champollion basically used the Greek text as a cheat sheet. He started by comparing names, like Ptolemy, which he figured would sound similar in all the scripts. And by painstakingly matching the Greek letters to the hieroglyphic symbols, he started to figure out what sounds they made. It was a long, slow process, but it led to that final aha moment, and a code silent for centuries was finally broken. And what's so cool is that this discovery didn't just unlock one script. Nope. It opened up the entire history of Egyptian writing, showing us how it changed over thousands of years, from holy carvings to grocery lists. You see, their writing was always changing, always adapting. It began with the super formal hieroglyphs you see on temples. Then, that got simplified into a script called hieratic, mostly for priests. By the 7th century BC, it had evolved into the really condensed demotic for everyday stuff. And eventually, it all morphed into Coptic, which was pretty wild. It used the Greek alphabet to write out the Egyptian language. It's an amazing story of adaptation. So let's look at the one everyone knows. Hieroglyphics. The name literally means sacred writing. And it wasn't just simple picture writing. It was a super complex system. Some signs stood for whole ideas, sure, but many others were phonetic, representing sounds, just like our letters A, B, and C. They even had their own 24-symbol alphabet. Now, compare that to Demotic, the people script. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like ancient Egyptian texting. It was fast, it was efficient, and it was used for all the daily grind stuff, like legal contracts and letters. The original beautiful hieroglyphs were so abbreviated, they were almost unrecognizable. So now that we could read, what did we find? Was it just a bunch of boring tax records? Not at all. We discovered a rich, vibrant world of literature with stories that are just as compelling as anything we have today. The variety is just stunning. They had huge, epic myths about their gods, adventure stories, and even wisdom literature, which was basically self-help advice from 3,000 years ago. They wrote letters, they wrote social critiques complaining about how the kingdom was falling apart, and of course, beautiful hymns and songs. This was a deeply, profoundly literate culture. And listen to this quote. It's not a grand declaration from a pharaoh. It's just a father, Ani, giving his son advice on how to live a happy life with his family. It's such a personal, human moment, a real voice reaching out to us across thousands of years. Now, their writing didn't just give us amazing stories, it also gave us the blueprint for their entire society. It laid out exactly who was who in the world of ancient Egypt. And it was definitely a hierarchy. At the very top, you had the nobles, the pat, royal family, high priests, the big shots. Below them were the common people, the ruxit, which was pretty much everybody else, from artists to builders. Then there was another group, the Merit, who were farmers tied to the land they worked. But that common people category was huge. It covered all the essential jobs. We're talking builders, artists, craftsmen, fishermen, everyone who actually kept the empire running. And what's really cool is that the records show people weren't necessarily locked into one job. You can be a farmer for part of the year and then work as a sailor. They were adaptable. So you have this huge, complex society. How did it all work? How do they pay for everything? Well, once again, their written records show us a surprisingly sophisticated economy that fueled one of the greatest empires in history. Everything, and I mean everything, started with agriculture, all thanks to the Nile. But they also had major industries, making papyrus, pottery, brewing beer. They were international traders, bringing in stuff like cedar wood from Lebanon and exporting their own linen. And of course, they were master miners and quarrymen, digging up all the gold, copper, and stone they needed to build their incredible monuments. And if you want to understand the absolute heart of their economy, just remember this one number. 1. They got one single massive crop per year. That's it. But it was incredibly reliable because it was all based on the annual predictable flood of the Nile. Their whole calendar, their economy, their entire way of life revolved around this one powerful event. So when you step back and look at the big picture, you see that writing for the Egyptians wasn't just a way to record the past. It was the operating system for their civilization. It's how they managed the economy, how they organized those massive construction projects, how they ran their empire. Writing didn't just tell their story, it literally built their world. Which leaves us with one last thought. We unlocked the secrets of an ancient world by decoding their data, their writing. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What data are we creating right now? All our digital records, our texts, everything we post online. What secrets about our own complicated world will future generations unlock from them?